Women's safety is threatened by not only domestic violence at home, but also when they are outdoors. The threat of sexual assault is more distressing to many women than that of domestic violence. The murders of Peng Wanru and Bai Xiaoyan in 1996 and 1997 caused the entire nation to debate women's personal safety.
After the murder of Peng, the Legislative Yuan acted quickly, passing the Sexual Assault Crime Prevention Act. The act had previously languished before the legislature. The act provides protection for victims, including financial help with medical, legal, and counseling issues. Once the act came into force, various activities were held to educate the public to ask for help if they needed it. Women's groups are dedicated to revising the act so that a victim will only be required to make a single statement that can be used throughout the entire judicial proceedings. This will save victims the torture of having to repeat their statements again and again.
Between 1987 and 2005, movements put much focus on women's personal safety and sexual autonomy, and their work bore much fruit. No matter if we are speaking of passing new laws or creating a new organization, all of these things are much improved from how they were in the past.
There's a special phone line, but I can't remember it. Is it hotline 113 for domestic violence prevention? That one is shown at schools and on TV. Teachers introduce the hotline to children at school. Most women choose to put up with domestic violence because they have children to take care of. They wait until the children are grown up to do anything. They seldom report it to the police unless it's very serious. Hello, this is the 113 Women and Children Protection Hotline. They work to protect my mother and me. Yes, you can live with me, but you cannot continue to abuse me.
The Act provides basic protection for women's personal safety. What remains is to enhance public awareness and enforcement of the Act in a way that it may offer women genuine protection. Violence and its effects are often easy to discover. Yet, hidden in the Constitution are the traditional concept of patriarchy and a husband's authority. Written in 1931, the Civil Code, specifically Part 4 on family, the law most directly relating to gender relationships, violates the gender equality principle stated in the Constitution.
This law was passed in 1931 and reflects tradition. Wives are supposed to go to live with their husbands. They must adopt their husband's family name. Children, too. Everything belongs to the husband. If a couple divorces, the children and property stay with the husband. Should women today be forced to live with that tradition? The large families of the past are gone, and feudal ideals have been done away with. A democratic country has been established. Big families have divided into smaller units. Must we then retain feudal concepts?
Constitutional interpretations handed down in 1994 and 1996 regarding unconstitutional articles in the Civil Code's Part 4 on family have provided the basis for further legislative amendment. The committee to amend this part of the Civil Code is composed of the Awakening Foundation, the Warm Life Association, and the Taipei Bar Association.
To prevent amendments to Part 4 of the Civil Code on family from being ignored in the Legislative Yuan, we held a petition drive sharing our views in different places. After we had gathered 40,000 signatures, we submitted the petition along with the draft amendments to the Legislative Yuan.
The law on separate marital property contracts was passed in 1996. According to the law, a married woman has the right to deal with her own property independently of her husband, giving men and women equal status before the law. At the same time, rights with regard to marriage and divorce and children's guardianship are fairly regulated because of this law. These improvements mean that women don't lose their legal status as an individual after getting married. Even though traditionally women have been taught that their duty is at home, it was common to see them working alongside men in the fields or on the mountains in addition to doing household chores. In the 1960s and 1970s, as Taiwan became an industrialized society, it was common to see women working in factories or processing goods at their homes. With equal opportunities in education, women have become as educated and skilled as men. Despite this, women do not receive equal pay for equal work. Some women have even been forced to resign when they get married or have children. In 1987, National Dr. Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall requested that their female employees sign an agreement to resign upon reaching age 30. This blatant act of discrimination drew the attention of the entire nation.
If a family's resources are limited, daughters are usually the ones to be denied an education. Women are treated unfairly in the workplace, facing dismissal if they get married or pregnant. Women are not encouraged to work nor pursue a long-term career. We found that there were no regulations that could help a woman when her rights were violated. That is why we began to promote the amendment of some laws.
The Gender Equality in Employment Act was the first gender equality law passed during the amendment movement, and the first bill to be initiated by the public. After 12 years, the act was finally promulgated in 2002. More and more women have entered the job market, and the number of dual-income families has increased. Economic independence is the first step for women in seeking gender equality. However, women are still encumbered with traditional notions of their place in the home.
In our company, it's always the men who are promoted. Though we have the same workload, men still have preference for promotions. In my first job, my supervisor told me that the openings for promotion for women were extremely limited. Whenever there was an opening for a management position, our boss preferred to recruit a man from outside the company rather than to give it to one of us women. In work and in terms of ability, women perform as well as men. In fact, women are more detail-oriented and task themselves with performing well on the job. We work as hard as men do.
In promotion of equality in the workforce and in recognition of women's extra domestic responsibilities, Taiwan has implemented maternity leave, menstrual leave, and lighter workloads for women during pregnancy, as well as paternity leave for men. In addition, enterprises of a certain scale or larger are required to provide daycare facilities.